Right. Welcome back. This is episode 77 of the Unsecurity podcast. I'm your host this week, Brad and I. Today is April 28th, and joining me this morning, as usual, is Evan Francine. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning. I'm supposed to say blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Uh, that's a good start.
Yeah, right? Blah, blah, blah. Tuesday. Here we are.
Yeah. We have a jam-packed show, I think, this week. It was interesting. We're trying to come up with the different, what we're going to talk about. And I was like, let's talk about what we've kind of touched on. So, but before we get going, let's catch up. What's been going on?
Yeah, man, it's hard to believe it's 40. I think today is 42 or 43, day 42 or 43 since our office has been closed.
Yeah. March 17th was the last day we had people in. We all went home that day.
6 weeks. Does it seem like that long?
Longer.
Does it?
I don't know. Everything, that's the piece that's been really interesting to me, is everything just blurs together.
Mm-hmm. It does. I forget what day I'm on.
And so I've had to make a conscious effort to, like, on the weekends, like, could shut the office doors at home and not, force separation, just because you're here, you're always in the same, area.
Yeah, and all my friends are digital now. You know what I mean? I haven't seen so many of you, live, in analog. I haven't, just you miss shaking hands, bumping fists, you know what I mean? It's been weird, but, I've been finding therapy and doing stuff around the house. I've built all kinds of stuff. I built like 10 shelves in my garage and built a chicken coop, put on new exhaust on my Harley yesterday. Got like 200 miles of, I call it wind therapy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this weekend, it was finally nice out here. So I actually dethatched my yard. I filled up 32 of those paper yard waste bags of thatch and dead grass, and it needed it. It never had anything before we moved in a couple of years ago.
Now, where do you get rid of those?
With the trash company has the yard waste subscription, so it's gonna take a couple weeks to do all those. But
yeah, my wife got tired of, I think, waiting for me. Plus, I don't do a very good job, so she hired that out. I think paid a couple $100 to have. I came home one day last week, and there was all kinds of. There was like a whole crew out there, man. And I had no idea, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And they're all dethatching my yard.
Nice. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but you have your motorcycle and get your wind therapy. To me, like, working out in the yard and gardening and landscaping and stuff, that's kind of the same for me. It's like, it's so different than what I do on a day-to-day basis. It's kind of therapeutic to get out and do that stuff.
My best buddy, or really good buddy, is you've seen him. He's Bobby. He's big iron worker, manly man. Spent like 20 years in Hell's Angels. I mean, just a biker, exactly what you'd think of. He's a botanist.
Nice. That's awesome.
I know, it's totally cool, man. And he's a fashionista too. So yeah. I think I got the biker mentality. He got the biker body. If you put the two of us together, we'd be pretty badass.
He definitely has the looks.
Right?
But he's a just chill, nice guy.
Yeah, he's a teddy bear.
That's too funny. What about work? Everything? What's been going on?
I got too much going on, man. I got S2Me version 2 comes out this week, so we can talk about that in the podcast next week. Lots of partner community stuff going on. We got the mentor program going on. I got tons of documentation I'm supposed to be writing that I haven't gotten caught up on. Just fixed, or, not really fixed, but reworked the math on the external vulnerability scan.
Okay.
So in the new system, it'll match the old system because I think a lot of the FR Secure people were running those scans and, not migrating off the old system because, the scans didn't work the same way. So
Yep.
I think we got that figured out.
Very cool.
Yeah, just tons of stuff, man. Good stuff. Just probably too much of it. How about you?
Yeah, same. Doing a lot of stuff for like CMMC and getting ready for that to ramp up. We're seeing a lot of questions and interest about that as it starts to go, even though there's nothing like official out there yet that I've seen for like the 3POW and how to get certified, but we can still help people with readiness for that, right? We know it's going to take some of these companies quite a while to get all these controls in place. So
Yeah.
doing that, how do we continue to mature and improve our current services? And
Yeah.
so it's been busy. It's nuts.
Yeah, you showed me before we started the show, you showed me the CMMC mapping, the progress you made, and I'm really jacked about that, man. You did really good job on that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it'll be it's been a while since something new has come out like that to map, so it's kind of fun. The hardest part's been like just get it. When you do those, you can't just do it for like a half hour or 20 minutes here or there. It's like you gotta just close down everything, and realistically, for me at least, it takes at least a half hour to like get into a groove, and you need minimum 2 hours to get anything accomplished. Otherwise, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's just I work the same way, man. If you interrupt me, you may interrupt me for just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's going to take me probably 45 minutes to get back into whatever groove I was in.
Yep. And like if somebody asks a quick question, that's one thing for me, right? But a half-hour meeting in the middle of a 4-hour block just completely destroys. I've lost an hour of my time, or like plus the half hour. It's like a third to half of the time is just shot.
Right. So S2 org, mapping that to CMMC. That'll be really, really cool, man. I'm excited to see that looks like when it's done.
Yeah. Hopefully get it done here in the next couple of days.
And I know you've been working on maturing the vCISO secure. John Harmon gave me kind of a little bit of a lowdown on that. Let me know if anything I can do to help, because I know that you're swamped as I am, man.
Yeah. No, I think my using this as our daily catch up since we don't see each other anymore. My plan is like we got an internal committee. Some of the analysts we're all working together and coming up with ideas. And once I put together that final, okay, here's our proposal for moving forward, I'll definitely bounce it off you. And
cool.
It's been a little bit trickier than probably it sounds like for that one in particular.
Yeah.
Like how do we get an assessment to be better and more consistent? That's easy. That's not hard. But the vCISO is such a nebulous thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of times we're going into a company that they don't know what they need or where they're at. So how do you sell them something that is what they need, but isn't like just overkill, right? Or it's not enough because so it's been an interesting challenge.
I'm taking notes because I think this is we've got another good podcast topic right there about, maturing the vCISO, because I think, when we started the vCISO program back in 2010, probably the first version, it was what you'd expect out of the first go of something. It was kind of crappy. There was no measurement in place. People paid for it. I mean, people would pay you $5,000 a month to basically do nothing, and you tell them, hey, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, but it's just nice having you around. It's like, but I'm not fixing the broken industry. I'm just taking your money.
Right.
I have to provide value. So we took that thing back and then deployed this version of the the VCSO program, which has done, you guys have done amazing work with it. It's cool to see it. And then now, this is the next iteration. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, we're only coming up on this current version, I guess, of the program is really only just about 2 years. It'll be 2 years this summer that we've been doing it with this methodology. So, I think with some of the stuff, it takes that long to actually get the data to understand what's working and what's not, just because right, these aren't quick fixes. These aren't like a pin test where it's in and out. These things take significant amount of time to move programs forward. So now it's like, okay, we know we have enough data to know what's working, what's not. How do we improve it? What are the pain points? How can we eliminate those or minimize them? So
yeah. And I've always been a big believer that if you're not in a consulting company, if you're not innovating, you're dying.
mm-hmm.
So if you wait for a customer or a group of customers to tell you, hey, you need to change something, I think it's too late.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid is hearing that. I think Sean did some really good analysis and interviewed the analysts and sales about all of our VCSO, and we're not seeing people not renew. So they still see value, but it's like, okay, but then what? They've signed a 2 or a 3 year engagement. What's next?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love our mission, man. Because if our mission is to fix a broken industry, we're always going to continually push ourselves to provide more relevant value, right?
Yeah. Yep. PCI is the other big one we're working on, and how do we make that less painful for customers? And I think we've got some really good ideas there. I'm excited about what's coming for that.
Stop taking credit cards. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately.
Right.
But and then I think the only other one was we have a pretty big incident response that came in the end of last week. They got a letter from the FBI saying that they saw packages or traffic going to a known malicious IP with some files and stuff in it. They called us immediately, and we were able to put stuff in. We were seeing PowerShell, encrypted PowerShell, fileless malware getting dropped, and we were able to, like, from what we've seen, it was probably max of days before they got ransomed. And so far, knock on wood, so far so good. We've been able to contain pretty quickly. It's amazing. I was talking with Oscar about just the growth of that IR team in terms of, like, even in the last 6 months, right? Just watching those guys become more confident, and it's awesome.
It is awesome, man. And if the FBI is notifying you, it's probably part of another investigation that they're working on, and this was sort of breadcrumbs from somewhere else,
Yeah, and it was interesting. They were saying we got a little bit of detail, but I guess each of the different field offices for the FBI focuses on a different type of attacks, right? So this one, came from, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give too much away about that, but one of the offices, I was like, why would that one be contacting this company with given location? But it's not regional. It's based on the
team,
the threat actor, or the attack and the attack vector. Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, and that team, the technical services and the IR team, I know that's a huge focus for Secure going forward too. So the team that they've come this far in 6 months, it ain't gonna be nothing compared to the next 6 months, man.
Oh no, it's awesome. Just continue to mature that and grow it. And
yeah, if you remember a couple of years ago when we were talking about the IR team.
Yeah, or yeah, even was it 2 years ago? It was like you and me.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't get called anymore, man.
This is way better. Oh yeah, I didn't have to do anything this weekend. They handled everything and got contained, and it was fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
We're too old, man, for this
it is
IR.
fun though, man. The Monday through Friday during the day, that's awesome. That I wouldn't mind doing it then, but it's those nights and weekends and,
Mhm.
you know, as they like to say, all that suit work we have now
Right.
gets in the way of the fun stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's never convenient, right? I mean, when you have a family and, you know, you take on more responsibilities and just management and everything else, IRs always happen at the most inconvenient time for
Yeah.
me.
Well, yeah. It is what it is, right? But
Mhm. I'm
yeah,
glad we've got experts who enjoy it and are great at it. So,
yeah. And it's fun to still poke around if I have a little bit of time. And, there's always like little things you're like, oh, hey, did you see this? Or did you look at this? And they're like, oh, where did you find that? And like wanting to learn and continue to grow. So that's just so much fun.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, that was good. We haven't uh, been able to really catch up. That's been the weirdest thing I think is right. Those little just how's it going and catching up. So all
Yeah.
right.
I could talk to you all day. I mean, there's so much stuff to talk about.
Now, um, yeah, but according to the show notes, we have to shift gears and talk about remote worker security.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
I guess
suppose.
we have to follow that.
Yeah, that is a thing. Remote
Yeah.
worker security.
So we've kind of briefly touched on it with some little like pieces here and there and some notes and things like that over the last couple of weeks. But I mean, from what I'm seeing, this is going to be a new norm for quite some time. So let's actually spend some time and actually talk about this and try and help people prepare and be safe. Um, so the first one, I saw this article, malware risk triple on work from home networks. Fret Post had a podcast on it, which I thought was pretty interesting to read, but the actual information came from BitSite. And obviously BitSite it is what it is, right? It's just going to be looking at public traffic. But for this use case, I think this is actually a very good use case for BitSite, right? What is the malicious traffic we're seeing from corporate IPs versus home IPs for over the internet? And what they found was the home or remote office networks were 3.5 times more likely than corporate networks to have at least one family of malware, and 7.5 times more likely to have at least 5 distinct families of malware. Mirai, TrickBot, and if you got TrickBot going, that's not a good day.
No.
Um, so the actual information is on the link to it is on the blog. It is actually a pretty interesting read. What did you think of it?
No, it makes sense. I mean, it's nice to have the data to support it. I enjoyed the percentages. I mean, it just confirms, I think, what we knew.
Right.
One of the reasons why we created S2 Team was for this reason, right? If you're taking a home, even if you're having a computer that's provided by your work and you plug it into a home network, uh, this data supports the fact that most of the home networks have infections, have all kinds of crappy stuff going on. And so you're just taking a work network and putting it on that same network. Most
Right.
people don't segment their Wi-Fi, segment networks. So you're just putting, it may be a pristine machine, right? And putting it into just a pile of mud.
And one of the other things, going back to that IR, that surprised me or was interesting was that even though they have tools to push, our threat hunting tools and everything out, they're having issues getting it to work with all the remote machines over the VPN. For whatever reason, it's not, there's a little bit more struggle there than if they were in the office. So, this is something that, yeah, hey, you're more likely to have this. And if you don't already have a tool to push it out, have you tested the tool you have?
Right.
Um, are patches being applied, right? So there's this whole new level of management headache for your endpoints that I think a lot of people just haven't even considered.
Right. I mean, and ever since we've done teleworking, which has been kind of forever, for teleworkers, home networks were always in scope. Not just the home network, but also the home itself, right?
Mhm.
Because we're talking about technical risks, but what about physical risks,
Right.
right? So, and now you just exacerbated the problem because what we used to have, I don't know, maybe 10% of the workforce was remote, and now it's over 50, 60, 70. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is. So you just took what was always a problem and just made it a bigger
Right.
problem. Hopefully people will take it more seriously. You know, again, this is why we created what we created, was to try to get people to learn good security habits at home without violating their privacy. Because another thing I don't want to do is, if I'm a CISO, I don't want to know all the stuff going on in your home network. That's your stuff.
Right. Well, and that's what's crazy, I think, that, and I get that this is unprecedented and stuff, but hey, we're going to use your personal machine to connect into work.
Mm.
What happens if there is an incident? Am I now going to have to manage and clean a personal device? What do I find on that? What's the legal implications of that? It's a lot of additional stuff that I think, it's not fun. It sucks.
Well, it's definitely a challenge, and it's not going to get fixed overnight. There's not going to be a silver bullet. There's not going to be an easy button. There's no one piece of software you can put on a workstation at home and it's now protected magically. You know, it's a combination of things, right? It's a combination of technical controls. It's a combination of people, right?
Mhm.
Teaching them better habits, you know, motivating them to learn and apply good habits. And yeah, man, but this stuff confirms it, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of already knew.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we know we're going to see a rise in incidents and things like that, but I'm hoping that long term, this is a net positive. The companies are going to start going, okay, we can't just be like IT and InfoSec are cost centers. We can't, just barely fund them. I think this would be eye opening for a lot of companies in terms of
Mhm.
what the true risk and cost is of not doing it.
Yeah, and I think companies, you know, some of the newer companies that kind of grew up as remote
Hmm.
companies, they're not struggling nearly as much as the ones that this is a new shift for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it'll be interesting too, because a lot of those companies that refuse to do it, that were forced to, how are they going to now stop that, plug that leak, right? Everybody's seeing, hey, we could function remotely. Everybody did their jobs. The company didn't, grind to a halt. How do you now say, nope, no more remote work?
Right.
And what's that going to mean? So,
Yeah, and it's crazy how many, you know, I've talked to a lot of other security people, you know, I'm up there in age now, you know, or getting up there in age. So a lot of the security people I talk to are also kind of getting up there in age. And there's still that old school mentality too, I think, that exists where I don't trust people to work at home. I don't trust that they're going to
mhm,
actually get their work done. You know, they're going to be messing around, playing around, and I'm going to be paying them for what, you know. So, but now, I mean, the way management works or should work, it's based on what you produce. It's based on what
right.
you do. I don't care when you do it. I don't care how you do it. You've got these 25 things that need to be done, and you get them done.
Yeah, are you getting them done or not?
Right.
I'm with you. I think, well, everybody seems to say that other approach is, bad management, right? You have all these bad managers that don't trust their people. Isn't
Right.
that a reflection on the manager?
Well, and it's bad management, but you know, I think for a lot of people, it's traditional management.
Yeah,
That's just the way they were taught. You know,
yeah,
you manage people by what you could see. You know, um, but now
uh,
you can't see them anymore, and now you've got all these other risks. So I'm afraid that some of these older school managers will just use this as justification to not allow what's sort of naturally happening with COVID to continue. Because I do think people are more productive at home, at least having the flexibility.
Yeah, the flex. I think it's been interesting for me personally. If the kids were in school, totally different story,
Right.
right? Like, yeah, but it's been a little bit more difficult, a lot more stressful for sure. With kids at home, um, not so much the older ones, but having a kindergartner and trying to get him to do anything for schoolwork is, yeah, good luck. Try to get a
Right.
5-year-old to do what they don't want to do.
Well, that's easy. And that's another thing, right? Is in the office, my computer isn't on the same network as my kids'
Yeah,
computers. We're not contending for bandwidth. We're not contending for, whatever else is going on the network. That's just another thing you have to account for at home, right?
yeah, and not everybody, like I have separate networks. I have the Wi-Fi for the kids' iPads, the Wi-Fi for the laptop that my wife uses for when she gets to work from home 1 day a week.
Mhm.
So that has its own. My work is on its own.
Mhm.
Um, Everything is, it's all isolated. There's no crosstalk.
Yeah.
And but most people just use whatever their ISP set up, and it's all one. And
Oh yeah. It's the traditional IT. Well, it works. Leave it
yeah,
alone.
well, and they don't understand it either.
Right.
And there's not like there's a bunch of resources out there uh, to go to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even FR Secure employees are not analysts, but support staff and administration, all those types. They've asked, hey, can somebody help? What do we do? Where can we go? How can we like
Right.
fix this stuff? Help me set up my network so it's more secure.
Yeah, and I think, and that's where we'll be going, for sure with Security Studio. I mean, you'll see a lot more content on, you talk about segmenting, your home network. 99.9% of the population has no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if they do, they're not doing it.
Well,
It's the right thing to do. So let's take what we got in your brain, put it into some easy documentation that people can follow, at least as a start, right?
yeah, and that's one of our big pushes this quarter is we're going to start getting more quick hit educational resource videos and how to's and things like that getting pushed out here, ramping that up now. So,
and that's another great idea.
We've already got a whole series planned out. So keep tuned, keep coming soon.
And one of the things we're trying to do at Security Studio is create a partner community, a community of partners working together for the common good. And obviously they benefit too, right? They get business and, marketing and all that stuff. But if FR Secure as a partner of Security Studio creates content, can we take that content and put it in Security Studio, giving credit to our preferred partner, FR Secure? It's just another way to get the word out with with FR Secure's name associated with it, so they get more, more business. Because at the end of the day, businesses are in business to make money.
Right.
Money does feed the mission. It's always mission before money, but they play with each other. You know what I mean? But there's some opportunity there, I think, to be more collaborative in the content that you create to make it more known to other people.
Yeah, we got a really good blog post. I worked with Brandon, and I think he got some stuff from Ryan as well, Cola. But yeah, Brandon and I worked on it quite a bit for like around Zoom, right? Because we still hear all this stuff about him. So there's a really, really good. Brandon does a great job of taking what we say that security people understand and translating it for everyone to understand. So he's fun to work. That whole marketing team does just a great job on that stuff.
Yeah, actually, he showed me, I think, what's coming for that. It's pretty cool. Your Zoom stuff that you guys put together.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. basically took my internal email that I sent to the company about it
Yeah.
and took it and made it for everyone. So there's not big scary words or any of that type of stuff in there.
Right. That's cool, man.
So along those lines, in the blog, the show notes today, I did go and there's so much out there in terms of resources and what should we be doing and all that, and I sifted through a lot, and I was I want to say I was surprised, but I wasn't. I was disappointed about the amount of sales marketing focused free stuff.
Right.
Right? It's not really free. It's like, hey, get this 30-day trial of this, and then we'll do, here's how you can do it, but you have to, like, I didn't like a lot of the stuff that I saw. So I tried to find some good, like, truly free, like, useful resources. Obviously, FR Secure, I think we've done a pretty good job of, and that's going to continue. So we're going to continue putting out, like, truly free. Hey, here are useful things that you can use.
Right.
Not just like trial software, but like actual documentation and things like that. So that's out there.
Yeah, those things piss me off, man. I mean, they really do, because they make everybody's job harder, right? If there's always strings attached, if there's always an ulterior motive, there's such a freaking ulterior motive in our industry. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, here, free stuff, but in the back of your mind that now I'm on a marketing list, I'm going to get blasted all the time about every single thing. I'm not going to be able to unsubscribe from all your crap.
Yeah.
And what the thing that you've given me is so sticky that I'm using it regularly in my business, and then all of a sudden you're going to start charging me for it. You know what I mean? There's just this catch. There's always a catch.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it makes our job so much harder when we try to give something away without a catch.
Yeah. Like we
It's
have the
really free.
ransomware readiness tool, remote work security checklist tool. Like once you download it, it's yours. And then there's obviously a ton of like videos and
Right.
other stuff that's out there. Like once you get it, it's to go to town.
Right. Yeah. It's like S2Me the same way. It's like so many of the things we've done, so many things, at FR Secure that have been done, that if people really believed you when you said it was free, I think you'd have 10 times the amount of adoption. But people don't believe you because of all these other jackwagons who, have an ulterior motive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. I can't add to that.
Yeah. I mean, even the CISP mentor program, I mean, I know we had 1,444 students, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
If people actually believed you that, you can sign up for the program and, like, we're not going to sell you anything ever
No.
unless you want it. But I mean, we don't talk salesy stuff. The slide number, class number 1 was that we did an introduction to FR Secure and an introduction to Security Studio and the things that we do, and that was it.
Yep. Yeah. This is not intended, which I think is for you're getting something that's what, anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000 plus.
Yeah.
So you get 30 minutes of, hey, here's who we are as a company and why we're doing this.
Right.
That's it. The rest of it is just, and it is interesting to see on going on that the chats, and people are like, I can't believe, like, they're still, we're 4 classes in and they're still going, I can't believe this is
Free.
free. Like what's happening? But
Yeah. What's the catch? There's no catch.
no catch. So yeah, on the thing, I've got the Department of Homeland Security's defending against COVID-19 cyber scams.
Mhm.
Really good resources there. The CISA alerts and recommendations around coronavirus, absolutely should be looking at those. FTC's got 2 parts for tips for avoiding the coronavirus scam. And then NIST has the telework security basics. Like, it's pretty solid stuff. If nothing else, read this stuff, and heck, the NIST one I thought was actually really well done in terms of, like, get this to your employees.
Right.
It's got like a little printable, like, tip sheet that's kind of covers the tips and you can't just like cover your head and go, nope, everything's fine.
Right. Risk ignorance. That's frustrating too.
So anyway, yeah, I think, gosh, yeah, what can you do as a company? I think like I said, we're going to work on some stuff, know what your employees are doing, offer them help, be proactive, reaching out to them. Hey, how's your setup? Do you need help configuring anything? Do you have questions? And use some of these resources that are, pretty good quality.
And it is okay for people in our industry who are giving away free stuff. It's okay to give away free stuff and have it be free, to just let go of it.
Yeah.
That is totally okay without any ulterior motive whatsoever. Do that stuff, man. It's kind of part of our common good. It's part of our community. It's part of what we do, and keep doing it. I know that there's been so many free things since COVID, and we've always been doing free things, and it's not to boast about it. It's to encourage other people that after COVID, after we get back to some sense of normalcy, don't stop making free stuff.
Right.
Keep making free stuff. Keep pushing out, because people need help, man. I mean, people at home, we just talked about how many people don't segment their network at home, right? I mean, they need help, so let's just do it.
Yeah.
We don't need help. I need help. Shoot. I must have a bad word.
We're going to get our rating adult only.
Right? I didn't do it though. I said, shoot.
Yeah, you caught it. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to. We'll leave it at that. I agree.
Maybe we'll have to do an adult version of the podcast, because man, it'd get funky then for sure. There's all kinds of things I'd love to say.
Yeah. It'd be. That would get some attention, and I think calling that good or bad.
Yeah, we'd have to have Chris Roberts on.
Yeah,
for sure, because he's good at doing
not caring.
Well, he's good at just laying it out there. I don't care what you think about it. It's just the way it is.
True. So, yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Great resources. So what you said you had an announcement there in the notes?
Oh yeah. So S2Me version 2 is releasing this week. We're pretty excited about it. We've, revamped a lot of things, mainly AI and workflow things and recommendations, and not AI, UI.
Is it next gen?
No, God no. But it is sort of a limited release. We're not limiting. We're not limiting how many people can use it or sign up for it, but we're not blasting it out to everywhere yet, right? This is a full version 2. So, we're expecting a few kinks, things to work through, but it's a really, really good release. I'm excited about it. And I think maybe next podcast, we'll talk about S2Me, how to use it. I'll talk about S2Me and S2 Team. They're both free right now. S2Me will always be free. Mm-hmm. Always. Right, as long as I'm in charge, I guess, it'll always be free. S2 Team is free for now. We haven't made a decision on whether we're going to keep it free or not, but we're open and honest about that, right? It's going to be free at least till the end of June. But how do these tools work together to tackle some of these remote work things that we've been talking about? I think it'll be a great discussion next week. So I'm excited about it. Because I love helping people. I mean, honestly, man, security is all about people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, well, like I said, you're at the end of the day, business is in business to make money. How realistically, how do you make money? Your people, right? The work that they're doing. You can't have a business without people. I guess technically you probably could, but.
Right. Well, and the way, and in full transparency, I mean, the way you make money on something that's free to the consumer, like S2Me, is you charge. One of the things that consumers told us that they wanted in the tool was specific product recommendations.
Yeah, you told me I'm doing this poorly. What do I do about it?
Yeah, give me where should you say I need to get a password manager? Which one?
Yeah.
Should I get Dashlane? Should I get, should I get LastPass? I mean, which one?
So many.
So, yeah, so the way we'll monetize to make money to keep the mission going is not by charging people. It'll be by charging whoever's tools we're going to put as recommendations in the S2Me. So yeah,
That'll be interesting to see. That'll be a good conversation.
yeah. I mean, it's not like you have endless, supply of money, but we're really focused on helping individual people at home, normal people.
Yeah.
Not people like you and me. You know how to segment the network. I know how to segment the network. The other people, who don't.
Like segment, what does that mean?
Right. Because it's their family, it's their privacy, they're the ones who suffer. It's pissing me off.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to talking about that next week.
Yeah, and I think being that we're doing, we're recording our podcast now in Zoom for the time being. And we're also recording video. I can even take us through the S2Me version 2, sharing the screen.
There you go.
It might be fun.
Yeah, I'd be in for that.
Yeah. All
right. So yeah, that'll be fun. I think that'll be a good conversation.
Yeah.
So quick Zoom update. We've touched on this a bunch. Zoom's been all over the news. They went from 10 million users a day in December to over 200 million in March. I haven't seen the April numbers, but I'm assuming it's probably around that same number. And they got just hammered. It was like the end of March, early April. I haven't really heard a lot in the last couple of weeks. It's died down. But they were just getting skewered, which was interesting to me when Microsoft Teams had a pretty significant vulnerability where a single attack could be, if you tricked a victim into viewing a malicious GIF, they could take over the entire Teams organization's team account. That's a huge risk.
Right. And
yet there was nothing, and they were alerted on March 23rd and it came out on April 27th. So they had a month lead time to patch it. Now they did patch it and they got it corrected, which is good. It's what you expect, but why are we not seeing that same outrage of, well, you can't use Teams because this flaw could have had your entire organization taken over.
Right.
And then the other one I had, it's a little bit older, from Slack allowing remote file hijacking. WebEx had one in March, I believe, early March, that allowed for total takeover. And so I don't know, it's interesting to see kind of how Zoom got just hammered when these other things are not. You're not seeing that same kind of
right. And I think I think there's some envy here. There's other motivating factors for why let's tear down Zoom, because of the success. And every piece of software everywhere has vulnerabilities, right? And Zoom had their security issues. They still have security issues.
Right.
Every piece of software has security issues. The thing that I really admired about Zoom was their transparency with me as a consumer, as somebody who uses the product, and their responsiveness to what we were asking for, right? Patch this stuff, get better security features, get some security representation to leverage, and so setting up that committee, in my opinion, they just solidified me as a customer.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere unless they stop behaving like this.
Well, I was gonna say, unless something, yeah, exactly, right? There's got to be something worse that comes out, And so I put in there an article to Tech Republic. Obviously, you go directly to Zoom's blog post, but I thought they had a good write-up of it. they're upgrading to finally to AES 256 GCM encryption, which is good. They've got additional security controls that they put into place. You can report participants, and then you can get reports out of it, and that waiting room is going to be on. So a lot of it, what we're seeing, the majority of the issues were configuration, right? It was things that Zoom couldn't control. Now, obviously, yes, the whole end-to-end encryption and the AES 128, that's on them. There's no question. But they've addressed it, and they've appear to put fixes in place.
They just fast, man.
Yeah. Well, one of the, it was interesting. I was working with an education, K through 12, and they're still using Zoom. And I was talking to them about how they have it configured. They've got the passwords for the meetings, and they've got the waiting rooms, and they were still having some issues with the Zoom bombing. And they're like, what can we do? I'm like, well, what do you have? And they talk to them. I'm like, technically, you've got everything set. If a teacher is allowing people into a Zoom meeting from a waiting room, how do you prevent that? Well, how did they get the invite to begin with? Did they post it somewhere? Did a student post it? You can't prevent some of that stuff from happening. And that would be for regardless, Zoom, Teams, Slack, WebEx, right? It doesn't matter. If they post a URL with a password on their social media, you can't do anything about that.
Right.
So there's still, I think, a lot of, goes back to that working remotely and understanding this is so new for everyone that the teachers are like, all right, well, here we go. And you gotta educate your people.
That's it, man. You can't fix people with technology.
So, all right. Anyway, I thought the Zoom's doing it well. Other things there is no perfect software like you mentioned.
Nope.
Figure it properly and minimize your risk.
Yeah, and do business with companies that actually treat their consumers or treat their customers well. And in my opinion, Zoom has treated me as a customer well. So
yeah,
what else can I ask for as a customer?
Right.
Treat me well. Listen to me. Give me what I need. You do all that. So I'm with you.
So anyway, yeah, I'm with you. All right. So some other things real quick. So we mentioned a little bit the mentor program. We had a break yesterday. Looking at some of the chatter on the message boards, it seemed like that was a good time on that. So I think that last year was the first time we did the breaks, right?
I don't remember, man.
Was it last year or the year before?
I think it was maybe the year before. It seems like a couple of years.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely made a difference in terms of keeping attendance up.
Well, and keeping your sanity. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's just the selfish part.
Right. Yeah, but I think I'm teaching tomorrow, so I got to get my deck done and get ready for that.
Yeah. So that's going on. We're 4 classes in. Made it through I think the absolute worst part of it with the.
I know you did it, man. Sorry about that.
It's all good. Somebody has to.
It's true. You took it like a man.
Yeah, I went through it a lot fast. Like that class never goes short. Like that one always is so long because you can see the questions, and I just went through it, and it's so different teaching online with like the moderators handling those questions. Like,
it is.
I don't know what they need to focus on or if they want something, but at the same time, moderators took care of it, so I don't need to know.
Right. Yeah, and shout out to our moderators. We've got on any given night, we've got 4 or 5.
Yeah, Lori, Ryan, Chad, and Cola, and then either you or myself.
Yeah. So, it's definitely a team effort. I mean, we're the ones on the video, sometimes looking like idiots. But yeah, it's the people on the back end that make all this stuff work, man. So it's cool.
Yeah, shout out to Cola for leading last Wednesday. First time he had
Yeah.
his stream crashed, and
Yeah. If you haven't seen episode 4, did we edit that out, or
I hope not.
I hope not either. I got to go look at that because when he took the phone call while he was live streaming from you, that was priceless.
I was like texting him and calling him, and I was like, I don't know if he turned everything off. And then all of a sudden I get a call back, and he's like, I'm not on. I'm like, nope, we just put you back on. You're all good. Can you go back? And he's like,
I know. I watched all that unfold. I didn't try to call anybody or anything. It was just like, this is funny. It was good.
I'll give him. I mean, it's stressful enough teaching it for the first time, right? I think we all kind of, it's that imposter syndrome kicks in, and then to have that happen and how well he recovered, I think he did a phenomenal job. So
Absolutely. Shout out to him. It was awesome.
and he still finished on time.
He did. Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, the Safety and Cybersecurity at Home 101 webinar series is linked there to YouTube, the Security Studio partner channel, and then the daily insanity check-in. If you're not doing that, it is fun. It's that office talk that just kind of like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Not, it's not, it's, there's some work stuff like, hey, how do we do it? But it's more what you'd hear about, about water cooler talk. Like it's kind of nice to have. So
Yeah, I love it. And I've grown to really admire the people that I see regularly in those daily insanity check-ins. They're open to anybody and everybody, so it's not exclusive. And I love seeing people drop in and then you see them go away for a while and they come back, and yeah, it's been awesome.
yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a while, I think, too, before we fully ramp back up. So I think those will still be, it'll be critical to make a focused effort to continue doing this type of stuff.
Yeah. And it's cool that my wife's on there too. I see my wife on there regularly. I don't get to see her much, so she's pretty good looking. I was surprised. Like I did I did a pretty good job on that. That's cool.
I don't know how to react to
Yeah.
that. All right, so a couple of news stories, real quick. And I'll be honest, Victoria does our weekly internal stuff, and I just poached these directly from her because I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, she's been doing that regularly too.
So Pay Open Database exposes 2.5 million transactions.
Is it pay or is it pay?
PAAY.
Pay.
And it promotes itself as providing extra security to online transactions. Misconfigured database exposing 2.5 card transactions. Whoops. Credit card numbers, expiration dates, and amounts spent back to September 1st. So they faced, let's see, PCI compliance is mandatory. Data breach occurs. It's going to be fines ranging between 5,000 and 500,000. So,
at least it's only 2.5 million.
Yeah,
it's not 100 million.
True. What's interesting, it's going to be like who was using this. I haven't seen that list.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of cards.
Yeah, and yep, and just basics, right? I mean, you test before you roll to production. At least run some security tests.
Nobody does that. Who does that? Got you first to market, man.
Yeah, I guess.
My next gen AI machine learning solution is first to market.
It's true. Yep, you won on that.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, do the basics. That's why we preach that. All right, another one, hackers. So that's on SC Magazine, that article. This one is from the Hacker News. Private equity firms fall prey to business email compromise. 3 British private equity firms sent $1.3 million to fraudsters. They said at least 700,000 or nearly 700 is permanently lost, and the rest is recovered. Luckily, they were able to recover almost half. You still lost $700,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and that stuff kind of ticks me off too, man, because it's so preventable. There's numerous ways you can stop that type of an attack from actually succeeding. Every finance department everywhere in every company should follow, dual control for, transactions like this, dual control for account changes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, we need $500,000 wired. That shouldn't just come over an email. There should be something,
right.
something a little more formal to track some of that stuff.
And and speaking of that, we created a free training deck for this that you can have all of your accounting personnel take. It's free, right? I don't know where that deck is right now, but
Yeah, we'll have to find it and get that out.
yeah, because business email compromise is one of the most common forms of financial fraud for businesses, and it's just very, very preventable.
I
So,
mean, honestly, I would say, gosh, 95% of the incidents we see are start with an email compromise.
yep,
I mean, it's not always the case, but the vast majority. I mean, it's not even close.
yeah, yeah. So, if any of the listeners want a copy of that deck, just email us at unsecurity@protonmail.com, and we'll get you a deck. Maybe we'll put it up there too. If Brandon's listening, he can publish it somewhere for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe I add that to our. I wonder if it's on the. It might be on the resource page.
Yeah, it might be. Yep.
We should probably know what's on there.
I don't know.
It's not my job.
Get stuff going on. Busy.
I just create the stuff to put up there. I don't know where it goes.
Mm-mm.
Last one is off of Dark Reading. VMware critical VMware vulnerability patched on April 9th. You get admin creds in 3 steps. Again, good job on VMware for getting that patched pretty quickly. So if you're running VMware, I'm trying to find the vulnerable version on there. I just saw it.
Well, no matter what version of VMware you're running,
Yeah, make sure it's patched.
yes, check the patches.
vCenter Server 6.7 and external 6.7 platform services controllers that were upgraded from earlier versions.
Yeah.
So
CVSS score of 10, so that's a bad one.
yeah, yeah.
CVE 2020 3952.
So an attacker with network access to port 389 on the deployment could steal information such as administrative account credentials. I'm going to go with yeah, no, not good.
Yeah, well, let's not do that.
So
What port?
389.
39. Okay, hold down.
Yeah, which you kind of need if you're. So you can't really shut that one down.
Nope.
So, all right. Well, that's it. Episode 77 is a wrap. Thank you to all of our listeners. Hope you enjoyed the show. Evan, shout outs?
2 quick. One is Richie. Richie from our from our daily insanity check-in. And somebody I haven't heard from for a while, but I was thinking about him this morning, Jason Dance. Just shout out to those 2. Hope they're doing well. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. You know what? That's right. He has been quiet. I hope he's.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking about him this morning, so I hope he's doing well.
So, personally, I think I don't have anyone in particular, but shout out to all the parents and struggling to go through this and maintain sanity. And I think our son's kindergarten teacher said it best, right? She lives in our neighborhood. We're really lucky. She came by for a social distancing visit to see him because he was really struggling a couple days with this, and she said it right. Hey, just do what's right for your kids, right? If you can do the work, do it, but don't burn yourself out trying to force them to sit down and do something. If they want to play outside and explore the woods or do play with their siblings, right, let's everyone stay healthy. So shout out to all the parents and all the teachers, and keep trying to get through this.
Right.
All right. So keep the questions and feedback coming. You can email us at unsecurity@protonmail.com. Social type, you can socialize with us on Twitter. I'm at Brad Nye. Evan is at Evan Francine. And you can follow Security Studio at Studio Security and FR Secure at FR Secure. All right, that's it. And we will talk to you more next week.
All right. Take care.